If you've ever wondered how to set up a paper in MLA formatting, this tutorial will show you just how to do that. For starters, I have laid out a sample essay. We're going to go over the details of what this should look like and how to set everything up using Microsoft Word. For starters, when you're formatting an essay in MLA, you want to be sure that you have your paper set up to certain specifications. You want to make sure that you have 1-inch margins all around and that you're using 12-point Times New Roman or a similar font. If you're on the Home tab in Microsoft Office, you can see here the type of font that I'm using and the font size. I have this Calibri, which is now the default in Word, and font 12. Calibri is fine. It's about the same size as Times New Roman. If you prefer to use a traditional Times New Roman, go ahead and change it to that. To determine what your margins are, you'll want to go to the Page Layout tab and click on the page setup here. And you can see that the default, unless you've changed this, should be 1 inch all around. Just confirm that that's true. If this is not 1 inch, go ahead and just set these parameters to be 1 inch, hit OK, and then you are all set. Okay, so in the upper left-hand corner of your page, you're going to want to type your name, the professor's name, the class title, and the date. It's important that you record the date in this fashion. You'll want the date, the month, and then the year. After that, you can hit return once, and then you'll want to place your essay title here. It's imperative that you come up with a title that is unique and also engaging so that your reader is more likely to be interested and want to read on. What you don't want to do is give your essay a title that is, assignment number 1, something that's very basic or that doesn't indicate what your paper will be about. Once you have that, hit return, and then you can begin typing. What you'll notice about MLA formatting is that for each paragraph, you want to be sure that you are indenting by 1 inch margins. Okay, so this should also be set to indent by 1 inch. Another thing that's important is that you'll want your entire paper to be double spaced. So what you can do, you can select all, and there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can hold down the control button and hit the number 2, or in the page layout tab, you can click on paragraph, and under spacing and line spacing, you can select double. In Microsoft Word, if you have any familiarity with it, there are multiple ways to do the same thing, so whatever you're comfortable with is totally fine. Now you'll see that our sample essay is in double spaced, okay? The next thing we're going to want to do, and this is something that students struggle with, is insert your last name and the page number at the top of every page. This has to take place in the header. So to access the header, what you'll want to do is double click at the top, and you'll see that the header and footer ribbon will appear up here. The first thing I'm going to have you do is insert the page number. Just because if I know the way that this works, this will be the easiest thing for you. You want the page number obviously at the top of the page, and you want it to be on the right hand side. So we're going to pick plain number 3. So there's our page number. Doing it this way will enable the page numbers to automatically populate as you continue to write your essay. So if it's 10 pages long, it automatically knows to number those in sequence. Now that we have the page number, type your last name. Okay, so for the sample here, I'm just using the last name, Doe. Hit a space, and here we have it. I'm going to double click back down in the main area of the text, and you'll see at the top we have our last name and page number. And if I scroll down to my second page, which is my Work Cited page on this example, you'll see Doe 2 has appeared. The last thing you'll want to note is that with every MLA paper, if you consult outside sources, you need to have a Work Cited page. This should be separate from the main text of your body. So if your essay doesn't complete an entire page, you'll want to insert a page break. You can do so by going up to Insert. I've already done this, so I'm not going to do it again. And by looking for the page break, which is right here. So you would just push this, and it would automatically force your cursor down to the next page. With the Work Cited, you want to, again, treat this as a title. I didn't mention this before, but when you use titles in MLA, you don't want any special formatting. So no underlining, no italicizing, no bolding. Simply center it, as I've done here with the Work Cited, and as I've done at the top of the page here with the essay title. When you get down to the bottom, the general setup for the Works Cited page, and this will vary depending on the source that you use, but typically it's going to be the author's last name, followed by a comma, and then the first name, followed by a period. The title of the work, if it's a longer work, will be italicized, and you can see that I have that here. Then you put a period. Then you'll include the name of the city where this particular work was published, a colon, the publisher's name, followed by a comma, and the year that this was published, a period, and then lastly the medium of publication. And again, if you're using internet sources, this is going to look a little different. You'll want to consult Purdue's OWL if you have any questions. You can check that out if you go to www.owl.english.purdue.edu, or you can simply ask me. Once you have your Works Cited page set up, it's important to know that all of your entries should be alphabetized. I didn't really set up many entries, so this for all intents and purposes is alphabetized, but you know, if you had multiple entries, you would want to alphabetize them by the first word that you see, which would generally be the author's last name. For our example, I used our textbook, and this, for any of you that have questions, this is exactly how your citations for our textbook should look. You can consult, there's a bibliography entry that I added into our classroom that explains how you should treat digital books. They're cited a little bit differently. Okay, but if you want to borrow this, that's totally fine. Feel free to use this. The last thing I want to show you, though, is how to set up hanging indents for your Works Cited page. Every entry must be set up using a hanging indent, and a lot of students don't know what those are, and they try to kind of force them in there, and then it messes up the formatting. The easiest way to do this would be to highlight all of the entries on your Works Cited page, and then go to the Page Layout tab, select Paragraph, and you'll see here under Indentation we have this special category. If you drop this down, we have first line or hanging. First line is what we do for paragraphs, but for Works Cited pages we want hanging. So if we click that and tell it OK, you'll see that now the hanging indentation has been done for you. There's no need to try to finagle this yourself. It's all set up. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you set up a paper using MLA formatting. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me in the class. Thank you so much.